McDonald's is not, and has never really been, a hamburger company. It is one of the largest real estate holding companies on earth, wearing a hamburger costume. And that's not a metaphor, it's how the company's own first financial architect described it in writing. And that's not even the strangest true story hiding in plain sight. For over a decade, one man secretly stole nearly every winning piece from McDonald's most famous Monopoly game, funneling millions of dollars in prizes to a network of mobsters, psychics, and strip club owners, while ordinary customers had almost no real chance of ever winning anything at all. It took an undercover FBI sting, complete with a fake TV commercial, to finally catch him. Two secrets, one company. This is the real story of McDonald's. McDonald's didn't start with Ray Kroc, it started with two brothers. In 1940, Richard and Morris McDonald opened a barbecue restaurant in San Bernardino, California. In 1948, they reinvented it entirely, stripping the menu down to a small number of items and building what they called the Speedy Service System, an assembly line approach to making burgers and fries faster and cheaper than any restaurant had before. It worked. Their single restaurant became a local phenomenon. Ray Kroc enters the story almost by accident. He was a milkshake machine salesman who became curious why one restaurant in California was ordering so many of his machines. When he visited and saw the McDonald Brothers system in action, he convinced them to let him franchise it nationally. But Kroc quickly ran into a problem. Franchising alone barely made any money. He was only collecting a tiny royalty, around 1.4% of sales, and had almost no capital to keep expanding. This is where the actual genius of McDonald's was born. And it wasn't Kroc's idea. A financial consultant named Harry Sonneborn looked at the numbers and realized Kroc was thinking about the business completely wrong. Royalties on burger sales would always be thin and unpredictable. But real estate rent was stable, and it could be structured to grow along with the franchisee's sales. Sonneborn's advice to Kroc became one of the most quoted lines in business history. "You're not in the hamburger business, you're in the real estate business." In 1956, they created a new entity called the Franchise Realty Corporation, whose entire purpose was to acquire land, build the restaurant, and then lease the whole thing back to the franchisee at a markup. Franchisees paid rent to McDonald's corporate on top of their franchise fees and royalties. It was a completely different business hiding inside a hamburger chain, and almost nobody outside the company understood it that way for decades. This real estate structure is precisely what allowed McDonald's to expand faster than any restaurant chain in history, without running out of money. Every new location wasn't just a restaurant. It was a piece of commercial property generating guaranteed rental income, regardless of how many burgers actually sold that day. By the 1960s and 70s, McDonald's was buying prime real estate on high-traffic street corners across America, often before the surrounding area had even fully developed, meaning the land itself frequently became more valuable over time, independent of the restaurant business sitting on top of it. Today, that structure still defines the company. McDonald's owns or controls the land under roughly half of its franchise locations globally, and collects both a royalty on sales and rent on the property, sometimes on 20-year leases with built-in rent escalations. In the most recent fiscal year, McDonald's franchise segment alone generated close to $14 billion in profit on around $16.5 billion in revenue, an extraordinarily high margin that has almost nothing to do with how good the fries taste. By deliberately shifting toward this franchise and landlord model, McDonald's scaled to over 40,000 restaurants in more than 100 countries, with roughly 95% operated by independent franchisees rather than the corporation itself. This is also why McDonald's has proven so resistant to economic downturns compared to companies that own and operate all of their own locations. Franchisees absorb the day-to-day risk of running a restaurant: staffing, food costs, local competition, while McDonald's corporate collects steady rent and royalty checks, almost like a landlord collecting on an annuity. System-wide sales across the entire McDonald's system reached $139.4 billion dollars in the most recent year, a number larger than the GDP of many entire countries, even though McDonald's corporate itself only directly collects a fraction of that as revenue. It's a strange kind of business honesty. McDonald's makes billions of dollars in stable, predictable income, essentially because it figured out that real estate is a better business than food service, more than 60 years before most customers ever noticed. But real estate isn't the only secret hiding behind the golden arches. Starting in the late 1980s, McDonald's ran one of its most beloved promotions, the Monopoly game, where customers peeled game pieces off fries boxes and drink cups hoping to win cash prizes, cars, or $1 million. The odds of winning big were always supposed to be extremely long. Some rare pieces had odds as low as 1 in 150 million. The man responsible for physically securing those winning pieces was Jerome Jacobson, a former police officer working as director of security for the marketing company that printed and distributed them. Jacobson had access to the winning tickets before they were ever randomly distributed into McDonald's packaging. In 1989, almost as an experiment, Jacobson gave a winning $250,000 game piece to a family member just to see if he could get away with it. He could. Over the next 12 years, he built out an entire underground network, recruiting friends, family, and increasingly strangers, including members of an organized crime family he met by chance at an airport, to redeem winning tickets and kick a cut of the prize money back to him. Investigators later described his network as including mobsters, psychics, strip club owners, and even a family of Mormons recruited to pose as average winners. By the time the FBI got an anonymous tip in 2000 and opened an investigation, Jacobson and his network had stolen more than $24 million in cash and prizes over more than a decade, meaning ordinary customers playing by the rules had almost no realistic chance of ever winning a major prize for years. The FBI's sting operation culminated in a staged fake television commercial designed to catch fraudulent winners, admitting the truth on camera. Jacobson was arrested in 2001, eventually pleading guilty and serving just over 3 years in prison. McDonald's itself was a victim of the scheme, not a participant, but it also meant the company's own signature promotion had quietly defrauded millions of loyal customers out of a fair shot at winning anything at all. Today, McDonald's is worth well over $200 billion, still runs monopoly-style promotions with far tighter security controls than in Jacobson's era, and continues operating almost exactly the way Harry Sonneborn envisioned it back in 1956, a real estate empire that happens to sell burgers and fries as the mechanism to keep the tenants paying rent. It's a strange kind of company to unpack, one whose most valuable insight was never about food at all, and one whose most infamous scandal proved that even something as simple as a fry box game piece could hide a genuine criminal empire for over a decade in plain sight. 2 secrets, 1 set of golden arches, and a business model so unusual that most of its own customers still don't fully understand it, even after eating there their entire lives. If you enjoyed this deep dive, subscribe to Decoded.Brands, because every week we uncover the untold stories behind the companies that built the world we live in. Which brand should we decode next? Drop it in the comments. Drop.